India and the United States have seen steady growth in space sector ties in recent decades. Now, India and the United States are contemplating human-led lunar exploration. WION's principal correspondent Siddharth MP tells us more in this next report. Listen to this.
India-US space sector ties go back to the early 1960s. In fact, the first scientific rocket to lift off from India is the US-origin Nike Apache experimental rocket. But US-India space ties saw real progress in the 21st century as India began its own journey of space exploration using indigenous capability. India's Chandrayaan-1 mission, the first Indian mission to reach lunar orbit, carried an American sensor on board. Chandrayaan-1 was also instrumental in establishing the presence of water ice on the moon. Later, Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3 missions also carried miniature scientific components provided by the US. However, the major shift in India-US space ties came in June 2023 as PM Modi made a state visit to the US. Back then, President Biden made significant announcements.
Collaborating on human spaceflight, including sending an Indian astronaut to the International Space Station in 2024.
These high-profile space sector announcements came at a time when India is working towards its homegrown astronaut mission Gaganyaan. As an all-weather friend, Russia had provided training for India's astronauts and will also be providing the spaceflight suits for India's Gaganyaan astronaut mission. Now the US is also embracing India closely. In June 2023, the US government revealed that NASA would offer advanced training for Indian astronauts at the Johnson Center in Houston, Texas. That's not all. After completing advanced training, the US would also ferry an Indian astronaut to the International Space Station. This mission, targeted for this year, is to happen on a US rocket from US soil. India and the US are looking at ways to perform human-led exploration of the moon. It's too early to say anything, but this is an unprecedented high in America's India embrace.
The Artemis program is a US-led effort to take humanity back to the moon and ensure long-term sustenance there by the year 2030. This, of course, involves space agencies from multiple nations. It's led by US and NASA, but there are space agencies from Japan, from Europe, from UAE and Canada who are taking part in this. US is now exploring how India can be a partner in the Gateway program. This is something that's unprecedented because India itself is right now in the nascent stage of its human spaceflight program, where India wants to send its astronauts to space and bring them back safely. But of course, India also has bigger missions in mind, where by 2040, India plans to land its own astronauts on the moon. Being part of cutting-edge science like Gateway and Artemis can only help India further in its directions towards greater space ambitions. From Chennai, Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.